is this really cool interview that Ross Coulthard did with Chris Bledsoe, and I'm not sure if you know Chris Bledsoe,
No, I
but
don't.
I knew him by name, and I knew he was some kind of sort of psychic, but I didn't really know the backstory of him, and it turned out that he was, at some point in his life he was successful. I think he was a realtor, and then he got Crohn's disease, and then his whole life sort of collapsed. He had his family, and everybody was, it was a really bad situation. And then he prayed, I think, during a boat trip, and then a lady appeared to him, and orbs, and since that time he can summon orbs, also with others, and he gets messages and predictions from the future. And Chris, Ross Coulthard did an interview with Chris, and he had some interesting things to say about Israel and Iran now. So we're gonna look at it.
You about apocalyptic events.
What they told me, and again I put this in writing back in 2012. I handed it to Timothy Taylor, which he took to NASA, to the Pentagon. That's how the chain of command went. In that, I told him about the orbs and the drones and the rockets. I didn't say drones, but the orbs and the missiles, which just happened. And we talked about all the other things that they told me. One of them was, they didn't say it was an apocalypse, that's funny. What she said was, there will be, when we see Israel and Iran doing their thing and the orbs begin to appear, from that point forward, they're going to begin to awaken the people, and there was no stopping it. And if we went to war, they would stop it.
So you believe from what you've been told, which obviously you can't know for sure, you're only being told this, but you believe from what you're being told that the entities, the beings, are going to intervene to stop us from killing ourselves.
They did that during November, on television.
And disclosure of the fact of a non-human intelligence.
It'll come next year.
You believe next year?
I'm sure. I feel sure. I think the government has got to. They have no choice. Because when these orbs appeared, and it showed them that I was in D.C. and I heard some of the conversation when they said, oh my God, this is catastrophic. If we don't tell it now, they may come back in 2026 and land, and if they do that, we just lost the control of our country.
But it's interesting, it's funny you should say that, because if that's what they're deluding themselves with.
So just to give a little bit of context here, because I saw the entire interview, and the entire interview is worth watching, it's really good, and goes into a lot of stuff. But Israel and Iran attacked each other last year also, right? Remember that?
Oh, that was, yeah.
Yeah, it was very short.
It was very symbolic.
Yeah, it was very short.
Yeah.
But remember what followed afterwards. You got orbs or UAPs all over the world appearing.
I remember that. I was seeing them too. Remember, I was seeing them too.
And Chris Bledsoe predicted that in 2012 because it's in his book, and he wrote that down that would happen, and he has over time, because of he's a remarkable psychic, making like real predictions. He's like Edgar Casey in that sense, like a reborn Edgar Casey. I'm not sure if you know about him, but we're going to talk about him in Atlantis. Very successful predictions, and he's talking to super high level people from the government, which he also talks about in this conversation. Also the Trump administration, but also a lot of Democrats, Republicans, but entertainment people. And then he summons orbs and UAPs while they are there, and then they see it, and then they say, "Oh wow, a real UAP," and then they go home, and then they say they don't exist. But so he's actually talking about the first interaction between Iran and Israel, but he also said that they would continue, so that has also happened, and that these orbs, this awakening of the people would also continue. and we have been seeing sort of that's why they are doing so. That's why they're occluding what's happening with the UAPs with New Jersey, but it's all over the world, right? It's not just New Jersey and America, but it was also in Russia, in Germany, in UK, in China, in Indonesia, right? It was all over the place. But they're throwing their own drones up in the air in order to confuse people and to discredit sightings and. So, but he's basically saying that. Okay, wait. Now we'll go to the second clip because he goes into a little bit more detail here because he has more to say.
He explained to me that in April of 26, there would be an alignment where this star, which is a blue star, of Regulus appears on the horizon in front of the Sphinx, and it would be red.
And you know what? This is right.
That's what she
I've
said.
actually spoken to astronomers. This is the phenomenal thing about this.
Yeah, and she said it'll be red. And when that happens, it would mark a shift into a new knowledge, not an apocalypse. That's what she told me. It doesn't mean Jesus is coming back. There's a new knowledge that's coming. What is that? Is it under the pyramids they've discovered something? Is it the Hall of Records? Is it disclosure?
Now, Chris, I've got to put myself in the position of the splenetic debunkers. They're practically wetting themselves right now. They're so angry.
I love it. I love it.
They're sitting there at home going, oh my God, this is
They're
such
just
drivel. How
uninformed.
credulous is cooked up listening to this Chris Bledsoe guy. Why couldn't we believe it? Is it possible she's deceiving you? Even if she is a divine being, an advanced being, couldn't she just be pulling your leg?
Well, she could be, but I can tell you this. When I told this to the government about 2026, I just repeated what she told me. They immediately put remote viewers on it. And all of a sudden, all the remote viewers are saying, oh my God, 2026, 2027, something is going to happen. We don't know what, but something.
But Chris, the official government position publicly is that we don't use remote viewers.
Well, I think we do.
Yeah. So, I mean, watch this interview because it's worth it. This Chris Bledsoe guy is really interesting. Like I said, I think he's like a new age or a new Edgar Casey and a seer. And so he speaks to the lady who appears as a lady in light, like a Virgin Mary, to which he compares her. And she gives him this knowledge, which she also, he sees it like as a movie in front of his eyes. And of course, I don't have to tell you that apocalypse also means revelation, right? It doesn't mean end of the world. It means revelation. So he's saying April 2026. That is either a point that something incredible is going to happen, or it is sort of the starting point, the tipping point of an inevitable disclosure that it gets so much momentum behind it that they have to. And that's also why I called this episode "The Race Is On." I forgot the exact title, but
The race
against time, or a race against clock. That was it. Because you and me, we have talked about many sort of ticking clocks, ticking bombs underneath the system that are, about to explode. Bitcoin is, of course, one of them. The system itself is another one, right? Because it's clearly over and it's creating all this chaos and all this scramble for resources and realignments and struggles for power within countries and outside of countries and within factions and between peoples. So that's creating chaos and that cannot last, right? This order has to reemerge at some point. But then of course you also have a race against who gets AI superiority. I've been arguing that perhaps we have already reached the singularity since these dark black projects usually are 10, sometimes many years, decades ahead of others. And if you have like a secret 80-year plus cover up, who knows how far ahead they are. So maybe we already reached the singularity. So that's another thing that is, at some point it bursts, it becomes untenable. So you got secret knowledge, you got secret technology, you got UAP technology, you got AI technology, which might actually also be UAP technology. Yeah, who knows? Because you got the day after Roswell, a famous book where they were seeding apparently technology into different companies without their knowledge. That's one of the claims in the book, like microchips and that kind of stuff, and silicon, and Kevlar and other things, night vision, and so you got a lot of ticking time bombs underneath the system, and the whole system has become untenable, and it has to change, it has to evolve, and
Well,
it's
it's time for
definitely birth.
it's time for us to evolve, because we can't keep doing this stupid shit which we have been doing for a very long time, just fighting for no reason, most of us. So
Yeah,
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 we just can't be those like black and white people. We need to understand there are like good and bad people on every side. So we
yeah.
can't just say, oh, they are the bad guys, we need to go kill them. This is like the most lamest view in the history. You need to, if you want to make an opinion about something, at least read about that. Just don't follow the line. You
Yeah,
need,
and then but at the same time you have, everything is speeding up, so it becomes more and more difficult for people to make an opinion or an informed opinion, or even to follow. I think even for people at the top, like it becomes very difficult to follow the
you
battle
know,
zones, because the technology and the action also speeds up with the new
okay.
players
So if
involved.
you can't make any opinion, then stay silent until until you read more about it. Don't come out with the wrong information, because you're going to spread misinformation which can cause a lot of harm to a lot of people. So what I'll say, if you don't know, if anybody doesn't know anything about anything, then don't say anything about anything. So go read and then start forming opinion, and once you are sure that this is the, and you have seen the whole picture, then say something. That
Yeah,
way
well, and
we
and
won't. Yeah,
yeah, and do it in an open discussion, right?
yeah,
Don't present it like that it is the case, but that you
exactly.
ask if it is the case, right? So
And
that's a
then
different
it doesn't,
way of.
I'm not talking about like everything, I'm just talking about when there are like wars and lives are
Yeah,
involved. If you want to talk about just simple politics, you don't, yeah, I understand, you don't have to read everything about the politics. You can
yeah,
make opinion about just one thing. That does, it's not going to harm anyone. But yeah, if the lives are involved, then be very careful, because
yep.
then you are responsible for those lives. Your words can be. So just make sure that spiritually it's going to affect you, because when you say something and it affect others, it maybe somebody lose their life because of your words, then you are responsible.
Now, a couple of things. Skinwalker Ranch, of course, and they started a new season. If you're not
Yeah.
watching, go check it out, because there's amazing, discoveries that they're doing. Last year was a lot of fun, but this year it's also very, very interesting. And one of the things that they did in this season, um, and I always watch the highlights because I don't want to pay for
Yeah.
what is it, Discovery Channel or whatever. So I watched the highlights, and I watched the breakdowns of the shows done by David Paulides, because David Paulides has the Can-Am missing from one YouTube channel,
Mhm.
and of course it's about that and Bigfoot, but it's also about Skinwalker Ranch when the new season starts, and he usually does one episode for each episode. And apparently in one of these episodes, they had Chris Bledsoe on the ranch, and they did some experiments with Chris Bledsoe, and obviously UFOs appeared when he did his thing, but when he did his thing, they also measured Chris Bledsoe, and apparently when he summons UAPs, he emits what was it, a 15 megahertz signal, which is also sort of the same thing that the UAPs it could be a different, but I don't know the exact amount. It could be 19 megahertz or whatever, but I think it was 15. And then sort of the UAPs emerge, and then David Paulides pointed out, like, maybe that's also how they tag people, how the UAPs tag people and follow them around the world. And because you got the hitchhiker effect, so maybe if you're tagged, you emit that 15 megahertz or whatever megahertz signal, and then they can pinpoint you and appear instantly like where you are. So it might also work the other way around, was his point, which was a very interesting observation from him. So follow David Paulides. But the point is, Chris Bledsoe is actually changing his his electromagnetic waves when he summons UAPs, so it's measurable, which is very interesting.
No, I didn't even know that they started the new Skinwalker season. I will watch it. Also, we have to do the whole episode because we have been trying to do that episode for years and we are unable to do it. I think that's also supernatural at this point.
Yeah,
We can't do that
yeah.
episode for some reason.
Yeah, but it's it's just so much stuff coming out. I mean, we also trying to do part 2 of Antarctica, which
Oh
also
yeah, that
hasn't
is
happened.
way more important, I think, Antarctica.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, so I think also with Skinwalker Ranch, that was my opinion. Like, I think they will actually do a disclosure via reality TV in order to convince Americans and probably also people worldwide that it's real. Like, I find it so ironic that they will use a reality TV show in
I
order to
don't think
pretend
so.
reality.
No, I don't think that is going. I don't think anything big will come out from Skinwalker Ranch because I've heard the podcast from both owners of Skinwalker Ranch, and I think there is something really crazy about it, but I don't think they can give disclosure from that. They are not even sure themselves.
They're getting really interesting stuff so far, but I admit they
Also,
are kind of stuck at the moment. They need something to
yeah.
make progress.
Also, they can fake a lot of stuff, so I'm not like 100%. Like
Yeah,
I'm not going to take 100% from them. Like it's very easy. I have a little bit background in. I've worked in the movie industry a little bit, and I understand. Like not in the reality TV, but like in the movie industries and like on the local films and stuff. I know like just to get ratings, they can do whatever they want. They have if they have to.
yeah, okay, yeah. I mean that's of course the point, right? That's what the critics also say, right? You can make the whole thing up, right? If the
Yeah,
people are not sincere, um, and but they do get a lot of specialists inside the ranch from outside the team, right? So that they are not
yeah.
involved with the team.
They
So
if
then they have
they
to
fake
pay off
something,
everybody.
at that time there won't be any specialist or one specialist which is bought off. So
Yeah,
if they fake, I'm not saying they have faked anything right now, but I'm
yeah,
just saying if they want to do it, they will
yeah,
do it properly.
yeah. So, but let's yeah, okay. Yeah, that could be the case. I mean, I don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we also have, of course, the thing with the pyramid. But I'm not sure if you noticed, but there were also some fireballs crossing across
I saw that. Yeah,
Sweden
I
and
saw that.
America.
I did saw those things. I wasn't sure what they are, but now, like the previous clip you played of Ross Gold, where he said the orbs are coming after the war, like they came after the previous war, and then after this war, you will start seeing fireballs again. But they are
Yeah,
meteors, by the way. You can see them. They are meteors.
yeah. No, I agree. And there was also one in Sweden that was different. Same week. This one.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fireballs streaking over.
Yeah, and I
Over.
saw them in the night as well, like the orbs. Recently, I don't know how true they are, but like Yeah, there are a lot of videos are coming back.
And I'm not sure if you also noticed this, but this week also we had a new interstellar object coming in,
I heard
Atlas.
about that. Yeah, yeah. I read about that. I think it's not gonna be very close to Earth, but it is coming.
Yeah, but look, compared how big it is to
Oumuamua. Yeah.
it's like that's a big size object. So, and then of course they present it as a rock, but as what's his name again? Avi Loeb pointed out, like especially Oumuamua, we don't know yet enough about Atlas, but with Oumuamua, it was probably more likely a very sleek, reflective surface. So
Yeah.
this representation,
This is right now. This is too far away, so we don't even know exact details of it. I think it just entered our solar system, so it's so far away. But
yeah,
yeah, eventually it's gonna come very close. We'll pass Earth, but it'll be far away.
and
It
then
could be a mothership. It could be a mothership.
yeah,
I won't be
for
surprised.
all we know.
By the way,
Yeah.
it is a good time for it to enter in the solar system, to reach and to start like to land on Earth on 2026 April, which is like a big deadline, big day, right?
Yeah, but like you said, fireballs, and we're also going through the Torrid stream, and the Torrid stream is of course very famous within
Yeah.
UAP circles because of
But
the documentary.
are we
by
going
Graham
it
Hancock.
right now? I think it's in September.
No, it's also June, July. Wait, I'm
No,
gonna
so I think June, July. Okay.
play a little bit about it. I got first this one. Wait, I'll do this one. This is better. I'll start with this one. This is more the scientific one. NASA agrees with the Younger Dryas impact probability.
Twice a year from around June to July, then again from around September to November, the Earth passes through a broad stream of dust and debris left by what most people attribute to Comet Encke. But it appears Encke could possibly be just one of at least a few large cometary fragments that may have all been part of a larger comet, which gradually fragmented over time and affected the Earth in the past, quite possibly during the last glacial cycle, perhaps also being the cause of the YD, as well as potentially continuing to be a hazard in the future, as I'll discuss in this video. And you may also be surprised to hear that NASA also thinks this is quite likely. We know this annual event as the Torrid meteor shower, where cometary particles streak through the atmosphere, or occasionally some larger bits of debris that will streak as fireballs and light up brighter than Venus. And as mentioned, the Torrid meteor stream is attributed to Comet Encke. The orbital period of Comet Encke is around 3.3 years, where its closest approach is near the orbit of Mercury. And every now and again we also have a chance of passing through larger chunks or a higher density section of the stream. But it's a continuous effort from astronomers and such to try and catalogue and track all the debris. And from what's been found so far, we don't seem to be in any real danger from impact anytime soon at least. It also appears that the Torrid meteor stream, or at least the Beta Torrid stream that we passed through between June and July, which is still part of the same parent stream, is probably responsible for the Tunguska event from 1908, where a meteor or comet fragment exploded before impacting the ground, releasing as much energy as 1,000 times that of the Hiroshima explosion. It flattened 2,000 square kilometers of forest and smashed windows more than 100 kilometers away. Fortunately, it happened miles from any towns or cities, so there was no major damage or human casualties, except for the countryside and wildlife around the immediate area, of course. And that was from an estimated body between 60 and 190 meters in size, depending on whether it was a comet fragment or a more dense asteroid fragment. And smashing windows over 100 kilometers away just makes you think what a fragment that size would do if a similar thing happened over a dense modern city today. For a comparison of a more recent event, there was the Chelyabinsk meteor from 2013, which was only estimated to be around 20 meters, but also exploded in the atmosphere before it could reach the surface, and that injured 1,200 people and smashed windows up to around 65 kilometers away. And again, that was only 20 meters. A lot of headlines came out about this being a wake-up call at the time.
So that gives you an idea about these meteorites and what they can do. And if you watched Graham Hancock's Ancient Apocalypse, the ending of Ancient Apocalypse is basically what they're talking about here, and that NASA seems to agree with, that the Younger Dryas might have been involved, that the torrid stream of meteorites might have caused the Younger Dryas, or at least exacerbated the results, causing massive flooding and fires. And in the story of Graham Hancock's Ancient Apocalypse, and he also shows geological data, and that sort of supports his theory by independent researchers, that's the case. And the whole point of Ancient Apocalypse is that these ancient civilizations, like at Göbekli Tepe and in Egypt and other places, that they encoded this horrific moment in time, and that they use their advanced astrological knowledge in order to send us a warning in the future that around this time we will pass again very closely through that stream, which caused the Younger Dryas to happen 12,500 years ago. So maybe that's some of that knowledge that has been occulted, and in these upper circles, these echelons of elites, that they are up to date, and that maybe that's why they're building out those doomsday bunkers with Bitcoin miners inside of them for the past 10 years or so. So that might also be a ticking time bomb, right?
Yeah. One thing I'll say, this time, I think we will recover very fast, because there are a few reasons. Earth is being occupied by people, like the whole Earth. Back in the day, there were very few people, and they were like just living in certain cities, so they got destroyed easily, and then humanity have to start everything from the beginning. Right now, even a catastrophe happened, like asteroid struck one side, the other side will have effect, but they will recover fast. So I think humanity will recover really fast and rebuild really fast, and we don't have to start from the scratch, unless we got so stupid that we don't learn anything and we will transfer and we are totally reliant on AI, and then we don't know anything and we are just reliant on AI, and then something happened and we don't know how to do things, and then we have to start from the scratch.
I mean, I agree with you, right? There's more chance of us surviving, but I do think that the impact would be even worse because of how connected we are and how fragile our societies really are, and also how dependent most people are. And then if they suddenly have to take care of themselves, they will go Mad Max in like a day and start killing each other. So I think this just-in-time economy that we've built together.
If I have a choice, by the way, if I have a choice between living in a Mad Max world or in a utopia, I will prefer a Mad Max world.
if you're one of the top guys
well, this is where you have to fight, right? You have to be the top guy.
So but anyway, to stick with it a little bit longer, I got this clip.
The plausible scenario might be that you had survivors of two types: those who survived by the luck of the draw, and those who survived because they knew it was going to happen, they planned for it, they prepared for it.
You think they knew it was going to happen?
I think we could make a strong argument that somebody did know.
How so? How would they have known?
Well, see, this is where we now get into why ancient peoples all over the world were such obsessive sky watchers. How did astronomers were able to predict this impact on Jupiter a year in advance? I think that we could make the argument that there was, whatever you want to call them, a priesthood or whatever, whose job it was to monitor the skies for generation after generation. And typically, one of the things that would happen is that impacts, right now, we could think of Earth, we could think of Jupiter. And there are streams of stuff traveling between the two, almost like cosmic ping pong or something. Now, every year on June 30th, two times, right around late October, early November, late June, early July, Earth crosses this stream of cosmic debris that's called a torrid meteor shower. Picture this. You've got this stream of debris coming in from Jupiter, coming around the sun, and going back out to Jupiter. The whole stream takes between 3 and 4 years to make an orbit around, like this, right? Now, here comes the Earth. It crosses the stream twice, right? Once in late October, early November. When it crosses, at that time of year, it's crossing in such a way that if you were to look up the stream, you'd be looking out into space. You'd be looking towards the constellation of Taurus. The things that modern astronomers used to count, the tools they used, the conceptual tools they used to make that prediction, are all the things that you can identify by using the ancient standing stone circles.
Yeah, I think what's his name again? Russell. I think Russell something, right?
Yeah, I always forget his name.
Yeah. But yeah, so maybe that's one of the reasons, right? That that they're in such a hurry, and that everything is putting forward so fast, right? Because one of my theories has always been that. And of course, Catherine Olsen Fitz and the missing 21 trillion that you wrote, I think, 10 years ago, and the remarks by what's his name, the former defense intelligence officer. Oh God, what's his name? Under George Bush, very famous guy. Forgot his name, but he also mentioned like there was 2 trillion missing from the Pentagon.
Oh yeah, I remember. I can't
I
remember.
always
But I remember the guy, the whole story. He said
Anyway.
it when he said a day before 9/11, actually.
Yeah. Famous quote. But the point is, like, a lot of money was already disappearing, and that went into sort of hyper speed mode after 9/11, right? And with each calamity, went faster, right? They print more and more of that money goes
Donald
into
Rumsfeld. His name was Donald Rumsfeld.
Donald Rumsfeld, of course, the known and the known known, the known unknown, the unknown known, and the unknown unknown. Yeah. But sort of the speeding up of the black hole money laundering machine. The past 2 decades, which I think is all going through these black ops and singularity level technologies. That's also speeding up, right? You see that more and more money is sort of disappearing. It's so much money that Elon Musk just gave up his government efficiency program.
Oh, Elon and Trump are fighting like kids right now. They are fighting crazy. Elon launched his own party, by the way. It's a very good sign. We need to have a third party.
Yeah.
Also, he said he's gonna adopt Bitcoin. Fiat is done. I completely agree with that. Fiat is done.
Yeah, I like it, but I'm a little bit wary of politics, and what it can achieve.
Oh yeah. By the way, I don't trust Elon Musk at all. I think he's a really bad guy. But having a third party is a good sign. That will open some more gates.
Yep. Yeah, and then you had this revelation by well, actually, he has been trying to wake people up for years now. But you had this new Oracle Films interview with Dr. Mike Yeadon, and he was, of course, the former vice president of Pfizer. So he was vice president of Pfizer, and well, basically, he's saying what happened was not so good. And he's basically, saying the same stuff that as you and me and my brother have been warning about for years. Introducing this digital ID control state, super hyper surveillance system through the means of endless vaccinations, right? That you need a digital ID show that you had your vaccination, let's say vax, that you had your vax, that you're updated, and then you can buy your groceries with your CBDC or not, right? If you didn't get your vax, you don't get your food, or you can't see this or that or whatever. So that's the things that he's been warning about, and I think he's probably right, and he's probably also in the know. But then you also have like the crazy stuff, and I also want to play that because that's another line of thinking. What about the Anunnaki and Nibiru?
I've heard from people in the Pentagon that the buzzword in the secret of secrets in the Pentagon is the Sumerian gods are returning, and that's what they're referring to as that whole area that Peter's
Wow. Can you repeat that again, just in case anybody missed it? The buzzword
in the Pentagon, in the military circles that are in the know about the cover-up here, they kind of, in whispered tones, talk about the return of the Sumerian gods. And they're talking about the what we would call aliens or fallen angels returning into the Middle East, into Old Sumer area.
The Anunnaki.
Well, could be.
Under the other ancient names.
Do you think that has anything to do with why we're in a...
So that's another possibility. Why there
Oh
is
my god, this is like my favorite thing. I hope that's the case. But okay, because I really love Anunnakis. That's like, I can leave anything. I will take them over everything. Anyway, but the point he was saying is not like the people are talking about Anunnaki. It's like, this is a buzzword in Pentagon, which is really crazy. Because if like a person like me who talks about Anunnakis are coming, it doesn't mean anything. I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Anyway, I believe in all conspiracies. So that means nothing. But if they are talking about this in Pentagon, but first of all, we don't even know they are actually talking about it, or this man is just making it up. But let's just say he's telling the truth and they are talking about it. That means there is something big going on.
Yep.
And
then
I really differentiate between Anunnakis and all other gods of all other religion, because Anunnaki sounds very legit and they sound very alien. They don't sound like a Zeus or like any Hindu god. They sound very legit. There is actual proof of them existing, and then there actual proof of them designing of the solar system, like the diagram of it. So that there is some legitimate concerns over there.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the first time that I sort of came in contact with the whole idea of the Anunnaki, and I didn't want to have anything to do with it. It's like like the ultimate sort of fringe or third rail kind of thing within the UAP scene. Right, there's a couple, but that's definitely one of them. But once you sort of go into that rabbit hole, there's a lot of very interesting things you can find there. And I think there was this, I'll try to find it and link it underneath this video, but there was this really interesting interview by Matt Lacroix, I think, on third eye drops, but I have to look it up. Which is also about Nibiru and sort of the science and this sort of the science behind the possibility of the planet, actually Planet X and Nibiru, and the whole sort of story behind it. And I think the Y-Files also have done some really nice episodes on it that sort of can get you up to speed with possibility of it being true. And of course the idea with Nibiru is that it, I believe, passes every 36,000 years, because it's actually very unlikely that we have a solar system with one sun. Sun solar systems are very unusual, very rare. And usually you have two suns in a solar system, and the idea is that our second sun is actually a dead sun, or what you call it, a red dwarf or whatever. And that's taking this really long arc before it sort of passes by us again, and then it has all these gravity effects.
This is true, by the way.
And
the
of course,
whole thing is very
I'm,
suspicious.
I'm butchering it probably, but
No. You're telling the truth, but the whole thing is because we don't have actual scientific proof of that.
Yeah,
Just to be
well,
clear for
indirect,
the people.
indirect. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we don't have any proof of any planet moving around it. We have so many powerful telescopes, unless they are hiding it. Well, we can see
Well,
black hole in
Matt
another
Lacroix,
galaxy, but we cannot see a planet just circling around us. So what I'm saying, unless they are hiding,
yeah,
that's a case. Like they could be, but I don't know. But yeah,
but
other than that, we don't have any actual evidence of planet.
we're definitely also, besides Antarctica, which we still have to finish, and Skinwalker Range, we're also definitely going to do an in-depth one on the Anunnaki and Planet X
Yeah.
and Nibiru, because it's worth it. And that interview with Matt Lacroix is
Yeah. Also, we're
good,
gonna discuss
very good.
all gods because those gods are like I really like those gods like Inki and so basically Ea is Inki and then the other one is El.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so
Enki
these are
and
two brothers. I know the Sumerian names, Ea
yeah,
and El.
Enlil.
So Enlil, yeah.
Yeah.
So these two brothers are very important, and then the fight between them.
Yeah,
Enlil is the actual like the real leader right now. Inki is more like a rebellious one, but he is
yeah.
the one who saved Earth from the catastrophe, which was brought on us by Enlil. So it's a very good like the flood story is actually came from them. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and Matt Lacroix is actually doing a lot of also current research. We will also actually talk about him in Antarctica Part 3, where we will present these different kind of theories. And he has some, and he's the guy who sort of made the point with the serpent and the sort of the eagle and the snake, or the eagle and the serpent. And that's, those two brothers that you're discussing and how they sort of influenced how things the meanings got inverted, and how the snake got bad and the eagle became good, and and it's a very interesting theory that he developed there, with a lot of historical and archaeological evidence behind it. But we have to move on.
So yeah,
So
we have to end it too.
yeah.